So today we're going to be doing an unboxing of the EVGA GeForce GTX 570. So this is NVIDIA's latest addition to their GTX 500 series family. So the first card with the GTX 500 series name was the GTX 580. So that was, if you've followed NVIDIA's naming schemes over the last, well, I guess the last few generations, the 80 would be the highest end single GPU, typically, although we had seen an 85, which was a refresh. And then the 70 would be the next one down. So this is basically a slightly cut down GTX 580. So here, as we get this open, I'll tell you some of the key differences between the 570 and the 580. So first of all, the 570 has fewer functional units. So that is fewer shaders, fewer CUDA cores, all of that kind of stuff. Okay, it also has less RAM. So I'm going to show you guys the box now. We're going to sort of talk about that for a bit. It has less video memory, so that's only 1.28 gigabytes versus the 1.5 gigs on the GTX 580. So even though this has less video memory than the GTX 480, right now it looks like performance is quite similar, power consumption is much lower, and yeah, it looks like obviously the price is quite a bit lower as well. We've got full support for NVIDIA's latest technologies, including 3D Vision Surround, PhysX, DirectX 11, and SLI, and that includes three-way SLI on this particular card. Let's go ahead and have a look at the back. I think there's not much here that we don't already know. Very, very similar specs overall to the GTX 580. The key differences are, like I said before, it is a little bit more cut down, it's a little bit slower, but it also comes in at a very attractive price. So it comes with a poster, which I'm going to go ahead and sort of carefully unfold here for you guys. An EVGA gaming poster, no less, which is a skull with some like wicked like guns or something. Okay. Very nice. Very nice touch, EVGA. Then we have a user guide, which shows you presumably how to install it, how to install your drivers. We have a driver disk. Don't use this. Download the latest off the NVIDIA website, as well as a Powered by EVGA sticker for the front of your case. Next, we have the accessories. I like EVGA's environmentally friendly and recyclable packaging, which you can clearly see here. Let's have a look at what we've got in terms of accessories. So the first thing we have is a mini HDMI to HDMI cable in EVGA's classic shiny wrapper with EVGA logo on the back. I haven't actually seen that with a graphics card before. I've only really seen that in their motherboard packages. So then we've got a dual Molex to PCIe 6-pin adapter, another of the same. And finally, a DVI to VGA adapter, although if you're really upgrading to a $350 graphics card today, please upgrade your monitor if you're still using VGA, please. All right, next we have a little warning. Please allow the graphics card to cool for a minimum of 2 minutes after operation before removing it from your system. Interesting, you don't want to burn yourself after all. All right, and let's go ahead and take off the caution. Electrostatic sensitive devices do not open or handle except at a static-free workstation. There we are. And let's get this card out. I've actually got a GTX 580 here with me for comparison, so we'll be able to hold them up next to each other. All right. So the first thing we see is that the GTX 570 looks very similar to the 580. The overall shrouded cooler design is something that we've seen on NVIDIA cards since, pretty much the 8800 series, where we've got a fan at the back here. So this is a PWM controlled fan, and we better hold on, pause for a minute. And we've also got a little EVGA sticker here. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove the, if I can remove the cover on it, then I'll go ahead and remove that. There we are. Okay, cool. Okay, and then we've got a rear exhaust sort of setup. So you can see there's actually no access to the fan whatsoever through here. We can just see the shroud itself. And then if we move around to the other side, you can see that all of the air is being exhausted out of the case. Now there's a couple different design philosophies for video card coolers. So one of them is that the video card, because it produces a lot of heat inside the case, should be cooled sort of adequately, but we should remove as much of the heat as possible from the case through an exhaust vent. Whereas the other philosophy is that we should design sort of a more open air cooler that does a better job of cooling the VGA core, frankly, but exhausts heat inside the case, so the air we're using to cool the video card isn't actually as cool. So there's obviously EVGA's taken the NVIDIA reference design approach to this one, using the rear exhaust cooler. So we've got two 6-pin PCIe power connectors up here at the top, a couple EVGA stickers, then we've also got SLI headers that are compatible with both two-way, so you just use a single header, as well as three-way SLI. Moving around to the back, which we actually sort of looked at already, but I'll show you again. We have two DVI connectors, one mini HDMI. Please do note you can only use two at a time, so either this one and this one, or this one. So you can't use all three at the same time. To get NVIDIA Surround going, you do have to have two matching GTX 570 cards. The back of the PCB actually looks pretty much identical to the 580 from what I can recall. So what we'd probably find if we took the cooler off is that even though there's solder points for all of this memory, actually here you can clearly see there's components on the back here, but these ones don't have memory chips installed on them. So that's where we get the difference in RAM capacity between the 570 and the 580. We've got a standard PCI Express 16X interface down here at the bottom. That is PCI Express 2, so it's double the bandwidth of the old PCI Express 1. And I think that's pretty much everything there is to say about it. EVGA's, I guess their value add, their brand value is a few different things. First of all, they have their step-up program, which allows you within a certain window of time to take your GTX 570, and let's say NVIDIA, had the 570 on the market only for like a month, and then they go and release like a 575 or something. EVGA's step-up program allows you to trade in your old 570 and then pay the difference to get the new 575, so it's a pretty cool program. They also had their lifetime warranty as well as 24/7 tech support, so those are some of the EVGA differences, and I'll actually show you guys also what they have to say for themselves. So besides their EVGA Precision tool, which is an overclocking utility, they've also got some of their selling points here. So they're the #1 seller, they're the #1 in reliability and service according to some survey somewhere, and they're the performance leader in 3D Mark Vantage, although 3D Mark 11 was released today, so it's going to be off to the races all over again for all the crazy overclocking guys. And then #1 folding at home team in the world. So thank you for checking out my unboxing of the EVGA GeForce GTX 570. Don't forget to subscribe to Linus Tech Tips for more unboxings, reviews, and other good tech videos.